I still don't know how to fucking do it. No.
And that is live on camera. Good evening. I thought
Good start.
Great timing.
Angry man shouts at a cloud. Just trying to...
Welcome, good evening, everyone. And we are Southbound. And as you can tell, we're a little bit rusty coming off our mini bye week. Not the Colts, just us. Sometimes real life gets in the way, and it's just nice to take a step back and let the content sink in before we emotionally react to the Colts game, which I never do. So we'll go straight into it. Joining me, as always, is the usual faces, Ed and Nathan. It was nice to see you again. Headlines coming from Sunday then. Let's talk about the Colts first. Who wants to go first with this one?
I'll start. I felt like this was a time traveling experience, and we went back to the Colts versus Green Bay game last year. For anyone that can remember back that far, the Packers came to Lucas Oil with Malik Willis as the backup, and he put 350 yards on the defense, I think. Fast forward a year, and Jacoby Brissett does the exact same thing. It was just, it just felt sloppy at times. It felt very reminiscent of, Colts teams of the last 2 or 3 years at times. But there's a massive catch, and that catch is that we won the game.
Yeah.
And over the last 3 years, which I like to kind of use as my reference point when the excitement gets a little bit too high, is we would have lost that game, or I'll be very exact with it. The 4th down play in the red zone, Jacoby Brissett would have converted it to a soft coverage defensive play call, and we would have lost the game. So it was incredibly refreshing to win the game and win it as we did to, Shane Steichen kind of going back to his, throw to win run. What does he say? Throw to move the ball and run it to win.
Try to score, run to win.
Yes. That was kind of exactly it. The 4th quarter, Quentin Nelson and Taylor just took over the game. Ed?
How good is Quentin Nelson, by the way?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, wow. Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you said there, Nathan. I watched it back in 40 this evening before we came on, just to remind myself. A few things that got me was all those 3rd and long conversions from the Cards still pissed me off, even though it's sort of 4 or 5 days further down the line. I agree. I think it was very reminiscent of years gone by. I would say I think injuries are starting to play a real part now, especially on the defense. I think you're starting to see Lou Anarumo doing his best with a very, very decimated room. Having Ashton Doolan rush the passer is a new one, I think, on all of us. And is that a plea for go and get me some more pass rush, please, Mr. Ballard? Because I don't know what a clearer signal is. If all the players on the offense I thought rushed the passer, Ashton Doolan wouldn't have even cracked my top 10, I don't think. So that was mental. I think the Cards were probably a team that are maybe slightly better than people give them credit for. And I think Jacoby Brissett had a very good game, although we didn't put him under anywhere near enough pressure.
No.
But we got the win. Tyler Warren was very good again. Josh Downs made some excellent catches. He'll be missed on Sunday if he is out, which it looks like he probably will be, which is a shame. But I thought he had a good game. And I tell you, I thought Daniel Jones had a good game as well. Again, I watched it back. I thought he had a good game watching it live on Sunday. But watching it back again, the interception was bad, but he bounced back from that. And he's just running that offense so well. He's made such a difference. I know that's sort of like water is wet kind of statement, but he's been brilliant. A few of his throws as well. When you watch them back, he really did thread the needle with a few of those. There's a couple sort of to Pierce and Downs that they shouldn't have been completions, but they were, and maybe that says more about the receivers than the throws. But he's still putting it up there to be won. So yeah, look, good win, and I think Robbie summed it up in our group chat, didn't he?
Yeah,
winners win.
Yeah.
You know what? Look. That is such an underestimated, and I thought that was a brilliant summary. It was all. That's definitely his point, and I thought it was a great summary to say that, because it's such an underrated skill. Winners win. Do you know what I mean? How many times you see teams like the Eagles and the Chiefs down the years that, if we're using the last 3 years, Nathan, is our sort of barometer, like you said, they've been the best two teams over the last 3 years. They've not been at their best. They still win games. And you sit there and you watch it after and think, how the bloody hell did they win that? So look, I would take the positives there. That would be my sort of initial takeaway.
Yeah. So my headline is, and I've got a couple. The first one: if NFL awards were not media driven, Quentin Nelson would be the MVP of the league. Jesus Christ, this guy's amazing at playing football. I don't think I've seen a better lineman play the game than Quentin Nelson.
I also think that if Nelson was wearing an Eagles, Bills, or Chiefs jersey, the whole of the league would know these plays that he does every single week.
Yeah.
But because he plays for the Colts, we know it. And obviously, probably friends of ours who know we like the Colts and pay attention to them know it. And obviously, anybody watching this knows it. But yeah, our Bills fans watching Quentin swing block for JT, I don't know. I hope they are.
I bet they wish they had Quentin Nelson right now.
I think that's a great point, Nathan. I think it goes back to what we were saying the other week as well about Jonathan Taylor. I think there's players there that don't, because it's Indianapolis, they're not getting their dues. People in football know, though. If you watch the proper talking heads, they know. Sorry, Harrison.
Yeah, and my second one is, what is it now? Offense wins games, defense wins championships.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, Ed, and Lou Anarumo playing Ashton Doolin as a gunner rusher is the equivalent of a soccer manager refusing to use his substitutes to send a message to the board to say, I need some help here. But what does this say for JTT, who again, nowhere to be seen? Are we really saying he's not good enough because you've wasted a second round pick when we really needed a linebacker? Something, I don't want to say something that's up, because we shouldn't create problems that aren't there. It could just be as simple as he's not ready, he's injured, or we are just decimated, which we are. But we need this is now not the time for Chris Ballard to play conservative Chris Ballard. This is the time to stick by your saying of we're all in and Chips Ahoy or whatever he says, but go and make the move. Don't think about it. Don't stutter. Go and make the move. But yeah, they're my sort of headlines.
I think on the JTT front, I think communication is key. And Lou has said at the podium, I think twice this year, that it's purely a game plan decision. So maybe you're right there, mate, in that we are so injury-ridden that they kind of have to change up their D-line rotation, so they've got to carry more tackles. But it's just a really... it's not a good look for a second-round draft pick. I'm sure I could, pull up the draft now, which I will do when the next person speaks. And let's see if we can pick some names who are contributing right now. And I think that's the borderline, because, correct me if I'm wrong, a player that we were really high on as Southbound, and, if you've been a fan of ours for a while, you know it, Carson Schwarzenegger was taken by the Browns in the second round and is already in their starting rotation. So, I'll just quickly load that up and hand over to Ed, see what he thinks on it.
I think that's exactly it. I think they're talking about him as already one of the best linebackers on the Browns roster, which, considering their defense, well, yeah, they're right. Yeah, I mean their defense is the strongest part of their roster. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I think that's a good point as well about JTT. Penny for his thoughts, man. If you're watching a wide receiver, what's Doolin? Wide receiver 4 on the depth chart.
Yeah.
He's moved ahead of AD now, I take it.
Yeah.
Taking snaps on it's just like Nathan said, it's not a good look. I think
it's not good, boys. It does not make nice reading.
Oh, go on then. Let's look at this then before we
Let's
move
list them one by one.
I know a linebacker went very early in the second. That might have been.
I think that might have been old Schweinsteiger.
Yeah, it was Schlesinger. You went first. Jaden Higgins, wide receiver, obviously already taking snaps. Nick Emanwari, safety, Seahawks.
Seattle. Yeah, he's
injured, but now back in the lineup. Quinshawn Judkins taken 4th. Obviously, running back 1 now for Cleveland. Jonas Avenaya, guard, playing for Arizona, literally on the weekend. Travion Henderson, the Patriots, Swiss Army knife. Luther Burden III, Chicago Bears receiver, already scoring touchdowns this year. Tyler Shuck, took by the Saints. Obviously, hasn't really done anything. TJ Sanders. Mason Taylor, one of Ed's favourite players pre-draft for the Jets.
Wouldn't swap him for Tyler Warren, though.
Alfred Collins, DT of 49ers.
Yeah,
Ezraku.
He had a really good play the other week, didn't he? Alfred, I think he punched the ball out against the Rams.
Yeah. Ezraku, edge for the Cowboys. And then JTT. Can't even get on the field. So it's not a good look.
Who was taken after JTT, just out of interest? Like, who could we have?
The one that hurts me the most is Will Johnson.
I know you're going to say. I knew you were going to say Will Johnson. I knew you were going to say him.
2 picks afterwards by the Cardinals. That's easily the. Tate Ratledge, guard, went to the Lions. We could have used that, but hindsight is a bitch because the Lions play so well right now. It's a tough one.
I think Will Johnson, the fact that he's a corner, would hindsight hurts the most there, considering our corner room is, well, looking like an empty Muller corner at the moment, isn't it? There's not a lot. There's not a lot in that room right now.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll make? Do we think Lou's going to make a move? Not Lou, sorry. Chris Ballard. Do we think Chris Ballard's going to make a move? I think Lou would like to make a move, but it's probably not his choice.
I think we will make a move, but it'll probably be on the week of the trade deadline. I think we all want Trey Hendrickson, but if the Bengals are still going to be there or thereabout, then are they really going to want to get rid of him? However, this is no disrespect to Quitty P. He's been a good servant of the Colts and he's in a contract year. But if, we were able to send Quitty on a 3rd or 2nd round for Trey Hendrickson, I would do it.
I think this is the game of chicken, right? Because everyone knows the Colts defense is pretty wide at the minute. It's not a hidden message. And every other franchise will know that. So do you wait for the player who's not quite happy at his team and you leave it to the last minute to drive down his selling price? Do you play that game? Hopefully no one else comes in. Or do you go in early, pay over the odds and get him, but you've paid over the odds? But that's why Chris Ballard gets paid the money, right? That's what we trust him to do. And that's his job. Let's talk a little bit about the game itself then, just for those watching and listening. Thank you for joining Southbound tonight. As you know, we're Colts fans, so we're quite happy at the minute with how things are going. So do like and subscribe because we like to explore the full NFL, not just the Colts. The game itself then,
God knows what.
sloppy. I don't. I just want to say it is as simple as the offense was great, fine. The defense was pretty crap. And sorry, Ed, I will let you jump in.
No, I was coughing, mate. That's why I had to go on mute. I started coughing. No.
My annoyance with Luana Rumo that day, I get it. I get it, right? Injuries. Not an excuse, but a reason. But conservative defense has never worked in the NFL. It maybe worked once with when Tony Dungy and his inverted Tampa 2 sort of style, but that was a different league. Now where teams are more air raid and scheme, the sports science has equalised out. Now you don't have big gaps in sports science, and bigger teams have better NFL like data units and all that jazz. It's all the same level. So that started to even out. So now it's become more about schemes and one-on-one matches rather than whole team players versus a game. Like rather than just going, we've got Randy Moss, who's just an athletic freak over everyone. That's come down a bit, and the scheme come into it more. So when I think he just sort of panicked, he didn't want to put too much on his players. He didn't really want to take a risk. But in doing that, Jacoby Brissett, as we know, is a very good quarterback. I think the Cardinals are sort of like us last year. I think they've lost the first three games by a score of 9 points. Like
that. It may even be one score games they lost. Yeah.
Yes, it's something. The record doesn't reflect who they are. That blip to the Titans. If they didn't have that blip to the Titans, nobody was saying, "Oh, the Colts beat a poor Cardinals team."
Yeah, I agree with that.
I just think Luana Rumo, I think he just shit the bed a little bit, understandably. But I would have liked to see just a bit more aggression, because I think you could have taken them risks of. Especially when Junior went out, Marvin Harrison Jr. went out the game early. That's even more reason to just go, do you know what? If I could sum it up in English way before I let you guys jump in, very European of me, you want to put a Brexit tackle in there.
Brexit tackle.
And for our American viewers will not get the reference, but it's essentially you want to put the big, nasty, horrible defensive tackle, your big Grover Stewarts, your big DeForest Buckners. You want to scheme them through so they can go and lay a hit on the quarterback, not injure him, not go and hurt him, but a proper crunch inside, get him down to the ground and make him remember where he is. But yeah, I was just a bit like, oh, come on, just go for it. Like, this offense is good enough to win the game. You've just got to go for it. And that was the first time I sort of like, there's the vulnerability in this team.
Yeah, I definitely think it's frustrating, or Sunday night was frustrating, but probably at the part of the season too, because I really feel like we are generating pressure. Like when you watch the games live, you can see that we're putting quarterbacks under pressure. We just don't seem to be coming up with the hits, the sacks or whatever. There was a play, wasn't it, where Jacoby was like skipping his way through and burst off to a run, and I was like, that's just inexcusable. If it's Lamar, then okay, but it's been frustrating, and I imagine that they're feeling that frustration as well. But to Ed's earlier point, I think if we want to be sensible, on Sunday, we were so decimated in that secondary that it probably had to become a little bit more simplistic. I believe that there was a player called up from the practice squad like an hour before kickoff who has never played a snap in the NFL before. He had to start. That's how bad that cornerback room is injuries currently are.
Yeah, and I get it, because we didn't even talk about the freak accident incident that happened before the game. Not
Yeah.
one, but 2 players just out. Anthony Richardson obviously broke his eye socket essentially.
Yeah.
With resistance band training. God knows how you manage that.
It's the most
And then-
Anthony Richardson injury of all time. Like, do you know what I mean? If you said an unnamed player in the NFL has injured themselves this way, you'd bet good money on it being Anthony Richardson.
And
Poor
also
guy.
Mooney Ward getting just
Mm.
was it Jerome Ultree making his audition for cornerback? Like Lou Aruma went, how does that seriously, guy? Like when I said, I think I put in the group, only the Colts could do that. How does that happen? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it.
Ward's injury is horrific too. I don't know if you've seen the live video, but it is horrific to watch. He is on another planet when it happens, bless him. And, you know, I think the initial concern when I saw the Colts reporters writing on it was that he'd had a non-contact kind of, you know, ACL or something go.
Yeah.
And then I think Stephen Holder of ESPN was like, actually, guys, it's just a concussion. You know, I can't quite believe this has happened. But that's probably Drew Ogletree's biggest contribution to the team, really, isn't it? So I hope he slept well that evening.
Yeah, that must be the first time a player's got a concussion in a warm-up. Like, legitimately, I don't think I've ever heard a player getting a concussion in a warm-up. Like you said, Nathan, I thought when it was like you think, oh no, like ACL, hamstring, you know, Achilles, you know, like usually muscle injuries in warm-up, isn't it? From
Yeah.
you know, look, we've all played sports at some level. None of us warm up properly. You just want to get out there and run around, and ping, there goes your hamstring.
Yeah.
But yeah, concussion in a warm-up, like whoa, that's that, and it was bad. It was like being hit by a bus. Yeah, man, he was all over the shop. But just going back to your point, Harrison, about the Colts defense at the weekend, like I say, I agree with everything you said. What I would say is I think we played the run quite well. It's the best I've seen us play against, except for that last drive when, like Nathan said, Jacoby went on a little adventure sort of and ended up stealing about 18 yards before somebody thought it might be a good idea to tackle him. I think potentially, I don't know if maybe Lou Anarumo overthought the threat of Trey McBride and kind of how bad our cornerback room was, kind of put the resources there, which probably would have made more sense to rush the passer even more in that if that was the case. But I'm not a defensive coordinator. But yeah, I thought we played the run better than I've seen us play the run for a long time. That might be because the Cards haven't got any running backs, but we still did what we had to do. And again, watching it back this afternoon, there was the last drive when I'm still not quite sure how the Cards didn't score a touchdown because they got right into the red zone without any kind of, like, before we decided to actually start playing defense again. But if you watch that back, at the third down, when Jacoby is sacked, I think Quitty Pay got the sack. But if you watch it back, that was all DeForest Buckner. He did not give up on that play. He went once, went round, and then came back. But Quitty Pay got the sack. So maybe a little bit frustrating there. Back to your point, Nathan, about the sort of the pressures versus the numbers, because I think you could argue that himself and Larty maybe don't get the numbers that maybe their play always deserves. That's certainly something that I saw watching it back this afternoon. Was he didn't give up on that, and I thought again, I don't know what you guys thought. I thought Jermaine Pratt did okay for his first game. The middle of the park was was a problem, but I thought he did okay considering he was being sort of busting lastminute.com.
Yeah, and I think did he lead? I think he led the game in tackles.
Yeah. Which is partner in crime, and I do have to bring it up because I had to make a note of it because that personal foul that he did to give the Cards a first down led to a touchdown. Again, it's one of those things you watch back, but it was a completely needless foul by Zaire Franklin. Was it? It's one of those moments that I think we've talked about it a lot already this year about him his brain just fell out for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And it turned into a touchdown. You're a captain. Like, how many times do we have to have these conversations? Like, don't want to pile on the guy, but come on, you're an experienced player. You're a captain of this team. And that's just like, we know that sometimes players get flagged in the NFL and you look at it, you think, really? Or, some of the refereeing can be a bit dubious at times or contentious. There's nothing contentious about that. It was just a brain dead play from a player who knows better, and it cost the team 7 points, essentially, because the Cards were getting ready to, they'd have been off the field. It was another first down and they turned it into a touchdown. It's frustrating, to say the least.
And if that's this Sunday, that's a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
We got lucky because I thought Danny Jones was excellent, especially even after the interception. I think he went nuclear. That pass to Pierce, like straight down the seat, ridiculous. But if that's against a team like the Chargers, or even just think that's the Super Bowl. I know, like, not even thinking about that yet because I'm just enjoying the Colts being good. But let's think ahead.
Did you say you've booked your tickets to San Francisco, Harrison?
I told you not to say that, Ed.
Sorry, mate.
But let's just say for 1 second that is the last drive of the Super Bowl against Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're in the 2-minute warning. Just in my head, I'm saying to myself, he could do that in the Super Bowl, and he would, I don't know, blame it on someone on a podcast or something. Like, I think we all sort of said last year, like, it would have been a good time to part ways with Sire, frankly.
Yeah.
And then when we realised he was staying, it's like, I was quite happy to go, okay, draw the line. Last season was shit and horrendous. Draw the line under it. Let's start afresh. And 3-4 times this year, I think we've mentioned him for doing something stupid on this podcast. And Ed said it best, you're a captain. What to Chris, to Shane, to Lou says that's captain material? Because I really want to know. And I'll let someone else take it because I'll get really frustrated.
Well, I think Zayez, I think you've got to strike a balance on, he's been renowned by the league for the fact that, the last 2 years in a row, he's been, the tackling machine. But there's only so long that can, balance you, in my opinion. Especially if, I don't know if I want to say this, but imagine we make it to the playoffs, it's crunch time.
Yeah.
Right? And he does something stupid like that. It's like march his ass out. Don't celebrate him on the Pro Bowl or something, because he'll likely get there again if he's leading the league again. But no, I think there's an interesting character. He, walks around like as if he's Fred Warner or something. And it's like, pump the brakes, dude. You're nowhere near that level. And the league doesn't think you are either. I don't even think he was in the top 30 linebackers last year, especially in coverage. Him and EJ Speed were towards the bottom end of the 73 eligible players. So, I'm not disrespecting Guy. I'm just speaking what the numbers say.
Bearing in mind he plays pretty much every snap as well.
That's what I mean. He's meant to be the leader of this defense. So when you have got rookies in who haven't played a single snap because they're not meant to yet, that guy's meant to be the lead. Like, I had a bit of a go at Lou a little bit earlier, but what's he meant to do when that's his captain? Like you say, Ed, that wasn't even like was it a 1.5 step or 2 step personal foul on the quarterback? Has he really thrown the ball sort of thing? Like, it was just flagrant. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Do you think the thing is, and it's difficult to say because you don't know for certain, but it's almost like you're letting your personal vendettas get ahead of the team. As in, you say that, what you said there about the Brexit and the top. It's like, I'm going to nail you irrespective of what the outcome is, and because it's going to make me feel good about myself because I'm going to get one over you. And it's like, but that's to the detriment of the team, and that that's where being a professional sportsman is different between being an amateur sportsman or a fan, isn't it? Because the team has to come first. I don't know if that is the case, but it's hard to, not let that kind of agenda build, I suppose.
I think you're exactly right, mate. And I'll quite happily say this because in the next part, I'm going to actually own my receipts, but I'll quite happily say this. I think it's selfish. I think he's only in it for himself. I don't think he cares about the Colts particularly. I wasn't McAfee's biggest fan when all this stuff happened last year. We don't need to rehash it all. But he had a point, and like we said it a million times, he sat there on podcasts calling out CJ Stroud. New York put 45 points on you, mate. Who was it? I can't remember which quarterback it was that ran through him.
I don't know, but he's been having a pop at Juju as well this week, hasn't he? Have you seen that one?
No.
Juju Smith-Schuster. The whole beef between him and Brian Branch at the end of and he said something along the lines of Juju's had it coming or needed his ass whooped or something like that. You're thinking, we're playing them in about 4 weeks, 5 weeks, man. Like, why? Like, why? Like,
yeah.
I think somebody put, and I don't know if you saw the message, Nathan, in the other that Colts group we're in. Somebody said Zayn needs a no podcast clause in his next contract, and it just made me laugh because it's so true.
If I was Lou Anarumo, I'd be like, if you want to be on this team, you're not podcasting.
Yeah.
I will go and get another linebacker. I don't care. Like, give me someone. And we'll flip it to a positive now so we can flip over to the offensive side of the ball because they were great. They were fantastic. Because I could really talk in circles about Zaire, but I'm not going to. But let me own my receipts now, very loud and very clear.
Okay.
I was wrong about Daniel Jones. Completely fucking wrong. And this quarterback that we've got now, I think it was Zach Hicks. It was definitely the cover 2 guys I was listening to. I can't remember who actually said it. This isn't even 2022 Daniel Jones. This is not even college Daniel Jones. This is something else from Daniel Jones. And I think the amazing thing to me, after that interception, I thought, oh no, the cracks are starting to show. But after that interception, flawless. And have you heard, apart from listening to press conferences, have you heard a single word out of his mouth?
No.
Fucking exactly. A captain. A captain. Like, the game's done, doesn't care, next game. And, I even think, like, to not give Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen all the credit because, we've got to remain a little bit balanced on this show. I think they were wrong about Daniel Jones. They didn't see this coming. No one did.
Yeah. I think Zach Kiefer, obviously a favourite of any Colts fan, journalist for The Athletic, described Daniel Jones as the most vanilla quarterback in the NFL right now, but the quarterback that the Colts need right now. And there's other journalists who are saying he is without a doubt the most boring quarterback that the team's had in years. But and it's very cliche, isn't it? Or it feels cliche in the sport. The whole he's always in the building and he's always in meeting rooms and he's always late for dinner because he's watching tape. But I think that's the fundamental difference in what I'm seeing between, the kind of Anthony Richardson experiment and then heading into Daniel Jones is that kind of, he looks well rehearsed, doesn't he? He's like an actor who isn't really missing a line. That's where I kind of linking it to. Whereas I think Richardson wasn't reading his lines, or at least not all of them. I'm definitely, starting to warm to it. I'm not brave enough to join the discussions of what do we do at the end of the year with Daniel Jones. I will not be involved myself in anything like that yet. But yeah, the guy is running this offense to a degree that I have not seen since Philip Rivers.
Yeah, Ed.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think Daniel Jones has taken the opportunity that's been given to him, and you know, people say he's grasped it with both hands, hasn't he? I mean, he's really taken the opportunity. I know what people are saying about him being vanilla and being boring, but so's Shane Steichen to a certain extent. I think they're two sort of. I think they're really well matched. I remember when he signed and Shane Steichen was saying about his football intelligence, and he was raving about that side of his game, and clearly the two of them just work really well together. Shane's able to call the plays he wants to because he's got a quarterback on the field that can execute them in a way that he knows that he can. I think Jones looks very calm, very composed, a total opposite of the kind of erratic and quite scatty player we saw at times in New York.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because he feels, well, he probably does feel more comfortable behind our offensive line than behind New York's. That's, again, nothing sort of hot takey about that. But I also wonder if maybe he's just found his place. He seems very, very at home. He seems to have taken to Indianapolis, and Indianapolis seems to have taken to him. Like you, Nathan, we're 6 games in. We're a third of the way into the season. Let's see how this plays out for the full year. But it has been it's been better than any of us expected. I think we said before the year, if we could get above average quarterback play, this team could make the playoffs. And we've had way above average quarterback play so far, haven't we? And we're number 1 seed in the AFC. So I think that shows how good the rest of the roster is. I think, I do think there's an element of that take that the Colts are looking at the rest of the roster elevating their QB. I don't know if you guys saw, I think it was Adam Schefter maybe said it before the season, the way that the Niners had with Brock Purdy, the way that when they had that elite, I know it's fallen apart a bit now, but they had, when Brock Purdy first came in and took them to the NFC Championship, the talent he had around him was elite. And I think that the Colts with Daniel Jones, there's an element of that to it. We haven't got Daniel Jones isn't like a Patrick Mahomes is what I'm trying to say, but he's a very good quarterback. But Patrick Mahomes probably doesn't have the weapons that Daniel Jones has. There's more of a balance, if that makes sense, between quarterback and the rest of the roster. And I think that's healthy. And I think we're seeing, and I think Daniel Jones is running it really well.
And I just want to push back on that. Not what you said, but what you're saying about what Adam Schefter said, because I've heard it quite a lot. And it grinds my gears a little because, yes, Tyler Warren is proving to be everything we thought he was going to be. Yes, we have a half-decent receiving core, which I think Coach Reggie Wayne deserves a lot of credit for.
Yeah.
A lot of credit for. Yes, we have a great offensive line, but that's been built over time. I would agree a lot more with that statement of it's the talent around him if he was playing at an average level. He is not playing at, this is, the problem is we look at, he's only beat Miami. Denver, great team, proving to be a very good team. Yeah, it was a dubious flag, but we won it. The Cardinals are not a bad team. I saw that on Sunday. They're really not a bad team. I'm trying to think who else we played. The only game we lost was a game where after Daniel Jones made an amazing throw and AD Mitchell made the amazing catch, he dropped the ball over the line. After Jonathan Taylor made an explosive play, it got called back. We don't need to keep going into all the details, but I would agree a lot more with the statement as it's the talent, not the QB. If he was playing at an average level, if he was 60% completion rate, if he had 5 interceptions and not 3, if he fumbled the ball a couple of times, I'd be like, okay, maybe his offense is dragging him through. But I think it's just sometimes Occam razor, right? Sometimes it's the simplest answer of he's just playing at an elite level. Form is temporary. Let's hope he keeps it up. But like I say, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying this is how I see it. And I get the Patrick Mahomes comparison, right? Patrick Mahomes is a freak.
Yeah.
A bit like there's a few others out there. You know, the quarterbacks, they are just freaks, some of them. But I think what Daniel Jones is doing is beating teams off the field. And the way he does it is studying. And I think he just, like Nathan just alludes to, it's Philip Rivers. You know, it's knowing your opponents. The touchdown he ran in against the Cardinals, Alec Pierce was joking with him. Oh, did you not see me? And he was like, you know, you could have thrown me the ball. He's like, oh, sorry, man, I didn't see it. Next time I'll do it. And he's like, oh, I'm only joking. Like, I genuinely think we have to just say he's playing brilliantly. And it's as simple as that for me.
Yeah, I think the last point I'll say on that is, you know, obviously the NFL media machine loves to kind of consistently churn out who they believe the top, you know, 10 quarterbacks in the league are, and, you know, who's running for MVP, etc. And I've been pleasantly surprised this week at the amount of people who have Daniel Jones either first on that list or just behind Baker Mayfield, who I'd like to call out because Baker's playing at a tier S level right now. You know, he's making me want to watch Tampa games. He's playing that well. I'm with injuries too. You know, they are decimated at receiver right now. But I just think it's a really cool story for the league. You know, these guys were chewed up, spat out, completely forgotten about, and now they're arguably running the best offenses in the NFL with complete comfort too.
Yeah.
So I'd say there's not much argument either, Nath. We've scored more points than any team in the NFL this year. I think Daniel Jones is running the best offense.
Completely. And it's just so cool after so many years of pain and suffering for Colts fans at the quarterback position that we've had this, even just for 6 weeks. Like, if you don't quantify it to the whole season, like Ed said, just kind of really be happy that for 1/3 of the season so far, we look fucking amazing on offense. You know, that's the best way I can summarize it.
And I think just to the last point to round out on the Colts, because we only have 40 minutes and we do need to address the rest of the league because some stuff has actually gone on. But my last point on the Colts, and I'll let you two jump in with your last points. The whole thing about who you beat and when you beat, people are forgetting that in pre-season, we were looking at the Dolphins going, maybe we get a win. We were looking at the Broncos going, hopefully we get a win. The Rams, which were all disappointed that we lost, we was looking at going, please just don't be embarrassing. Do you know what I mean? We maybe looked at the Titans and going, yeah, we should beat the Titans. And we looked at the Cardinals as they're a good team. If we're playing great football, we can beat them. It's easy to forget where teams are pre-season when you're talking about, well, they've only beat this team and they've only beat that team. And it's just like, I know it's the type of content is designed to engage and rage and get you clicking. And I've had to delete a couple, type it out and delete it because I'm like, no, you don't need to get involved. But like you just said, we're running the best offense in the league. Not in the AFC South, not in the AFC, the league. That's crazy when you think of the other quarterbacks in the league. And we're also running, apart from this week, great defenses. We held the Raiders to 6 points, someone else to 9 points, or something, 10 points. We're running a very good defense. Top, without the injuries, obviously it'd be skewed because of the Cardinals game, but without the injuries, it's probably a top 10 defense, or has been a top 10 defense under Lou. And we've got power rankings of the Colts at 8 and 9, and it's like the Bills are above us and they've just lost. The Eagles are above us and they've lost 2 games. And I'm just like, I know this is designed to engage and like to get me clicking and sharing and, oh my goodness, look at what they've done. But it's just on it. Honestly, man, it's just ridiculous. But that's my last point. You two?
I'm good to move on. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to move on. But let's not forget, we're the number 1 seed in the AFC for a reason at the moment. That's what I would say.
Yeah. So yeah, let's move on. That was again. This show has been a little bit different because we had a mini bye on Monday. Usually Monday is the emotional reaction that we've had so far, and Thursday is a bit more of a deep dive. So now we're going to have just a little look around the league to see what's been going on. And I'll just find my notes because I never put them up. So like we say, the Colts did creep past Jacoby Brissett and the Cardinals. There we go. I've got it. The Titans finally come to their senses and sacked head coach Brian Callahan, who has had a woeful season. Aaron Glenn is somehow still in a job, even though Justin Fields got minus passing yards. What an absolute just terrible game for London.
Just on that, a friend of mine, that was the first NFL game he ever went to. And I was chatting to him on Sunday at my boys' game, and he left at half time to get the train down to London, and like excited. I haven't seen him since, but I'm not sure. Yeah, first ever NFL game. That was a stinker, weren't it? An absolute minging game of football. Wow.
And just to round out our pre-season predictions of it's going to be the Ravens versus the Bills in the AFC Championship game is starting to look a little bit silly, but long way to go. Does anyone have any highlights, any games they want to talk about?
I've got one point I'd like to bring up before. Yeah. It's not necessarily about a game. It's about, I suppose, me living up to my pre-show billing of ranting about a team unnecessarily, but something that has annoyed me a little bit, just on the Bills. Obviously, they lost to the Falcons. Fair enough. The Falcons running back Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
Top player. Superb player.
Yeah,
saw him in London a couple of years ago in his rookie year. Brilliant, outstanding. He ain't the best running back in the league, right? Can we just stop this narrative that seems to be taking off that he's the most important player in that position? He's the best player in that position. He absolutely is a fantastic football player and absolutely crucial to what the Atlanta Falcons are looking to do. I'm not disputing any of that. But what, does Jonathan Taylor play tennis or something? Like, have we all just forgotten that he exists? Because as good as Bijan Robinson has been this year, and I'm not disputing it, and like I said, I thought he was really good. That touchdown run against the Bills in particular was at 80-odd yards, something fantastic. Yeah. If Jonathan Taylor does that with one hand behind his back every Sunday, like it just maybe, because I don't think Atlanta are a particularly big market team. Mm-hmm. But he just seems to get so much more. I don't know if it's because he's younger, he's like the new shinier thing, but he just seems to get a lot more sort of media attention than Jonathan Taylor, who still leads the league in rushing yards. And I think they put a graphic up during our game on Sunday about yards per game. Jonathan Taylor's now 5th overall, and every other back on that list is a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so Jonathan Taylor is elite. Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in the National Football League as things stand, period. Bijan Robinson, very good, not as good. Stop it now, please, people. It's irritating me. And yes, I'm aware that I'm doing a Zaire Franklin and we have to play them in a couple of weeks and he's going to go off on one. I'm fully aware of that. But I'm sorry, that was just my irritated take off the back of that, you know, Bijan, he had a good game, but Taylor's been doing it all season. You ain't at that level yet, boy. Know your place.
I can't wait for him to go off against us in Germany.
Oh, mate, yeah, he's gonna run for like 2,000 miles against us now. I've said all of that. I know that. But again, one game is. Do you know what I mean? Anybody can beat anybody in one game. You know what I mean? It's how you do it over your career, over a year. Jonathan Taylor is the best back in the league, and that is the hill I'm prepared to fight on at the moment.
Jonathan Taylor's playing at a scary level this year. From his pass blocking to his pass catching. Unreal. Nathan?
I want to talk about the Seahawks-Jaguars game because I really hope that we can replicate it. I thought Sam Darnold really bounced back after that kind of tough loss to Tampa Bay the week prior. And I'm just obsessed with this player, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah,
He is, you know, I have a close friend who's a Seahawks fan. Shout out T-Bev if you're listening. And pre-season I was so high on, you know, JSN, and you know, a lot of the boys would like to debate American football like everybody does. And, you know, there's some tone on, you know, can he become that true wide receiver one, you know, get himself up there with, you know, the likes of JJ and so on. And so far, week after week after week after week, he's one, always open, right? Like, how is he forgotten about with opposing defensive coordinators? And two, he's just a star. The guy's an absolute stud. And you know, it makes me think, you know, can we get Josh Downs or Alec Pierce to get 160 yards against the Jags? That'd be quite a nice feeling. My second kind of point of, could call it panic because of the old rivalry, is the old enemy, the New England Patriots. Currently sit top of the division at 4-2. Who would have predicted that? Drake May looked excellent on the weekend. He's looked great all year. You know, 3 touchdowns, 18 for 26, 261. They look good. I know it. Again, I hate saying stuff like this, but I know it's only the Saints. But the Saints battled them the whole way. It was not like as if they just laid down. But yeah, week 6, who would have said that New England would be top of the division?
It's just funny what a competent head coach can do, though.
Precisely.
We could, you know, we know Mike Vrabel very well from his time at Tennessee, and that Tennessee team was always annoyingly in and around it. And I think he will do that with any team he goes to. Vrabel of, you know, the question about Vrabel is, I hate saying this question because how they define success, right? But the question with Vrabel is, can he take that next step? Can he take a team? You know, Mike Tomlin managed to do it, very successful, very steady, very consistent head coach. He managed to take that next step. Now it's up to Mike Vrabel to follow in them footsteps of, I can run a team, I can keep them safe, secure, the ship's not going to go down. Can I now elevate a team to the next step? I mean, yeah, the same thing I'll say for the Patriots that I said about us. It doesn't matter who you play. The whole NFL thing is any given Sunday. So
they've got.
Go on, Ed. I'll go after.
No, I was just going to say they've got Tennessee this weekend, haven't they? And you can guarantee that Vrabel's going to want to absolutely beat the granny out of them.
Yeah. I think just going back to the point on the Jets, the Jets just seem. I mean, I don't even know how to say it respectfully, but I feel sorry for the next quarterback that they roll into that organization. You know, it's probably going to be Garrett Nussmeier or Lenora Sellers, I would imagine. I mean, Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana is having a fantastic year. Shout out to Hoosiers. Currently 6-0. But I just feel so sorry for the next kind of star that has to go there and go through the fucking machine that is the New York Jets right now. I mean, it's hard to understand why they're keeping players like Garrett Wilson on the roster. I know Wilson's a great player, and Wilson's very public about how much he loves the organization, and you know, he feels like he's always been backed by them. But you're paying like a premier receiver. I still believe there's a premier receiver there. I just think he needs to be in a different system. But you're paying like a premier receiver a lot of money to do quite literally nothing. I don't know if you saw the scenes on the weekend. He was arguing with Aaron Glenn, going, "Why are we not calling plays? Have we given up?" sort of thing. I don't think Glenn is goners at all. I think this is a commitment. He's an ex-Jet, he's a kind of culture guy. They'll give him 2 or 3 years, but I really do worry about the next guy that rolls into that organisation.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I would say on Fields, he was sacked 9 times, wasn't he?
Mhm.
Which you can look at that a number of ways, but one thing I did hear was the time that he was holding on to the ball was something like it was taking him up to 5 seconds to get the ball out. I think I heard somebody say that. That's not necessarily on the O-line, is it? You can't put that all on them.
No.
He needs to get the ball out quicker. But I agree with what you're saying, Nathan. I think that just seems to be a franchise that just can't seem to. I don't know. We're talking about, and I hate doing this because I used to hate it when people did it to the Colts when we used to melt down and people start like going, "Oh, Quentin Nelson's a good player. Oh, he's a good player. Oh, I'd have him." But that could be a sell-in team in the next couple of weeks. I'd be amazed if they're not.
And I think just to cast your mind back, so I'm not sure which one of you two said it or brung it up, but I think we pretty much said that when we made our predictions pre-season, the Jets could be a good team, but if it goes wrong and they have to pay people, they are in a world of I think it might be you, Nathan. I'm not sure. I know it was one of you two brought it up about they having to pay everyone, and if it went wrong and still having to pay everyone could cripple your franchise.
That was Nathan, because going back to owning receipts, I was quite high on the Jets going into this year too. The Jets and the Ravens have made me look like a fool.
I think if you're being honest about it, on paper, you look at it and you go, yeah, okay, there's a lot of names there.
Yeah, I just bought the hype.
Yeah.
I just bought the hype.
Yeah. I've lost my train of thought now. Where was we?
But yeah, I've got on the Jags. I'll see them this weekend.
Oh, of course, you're going, aren't you?
Yeah,
Nice.
I will be at Wembley. I will see. I'm going deep into enemy territory and get a close-up look. Could be a good game. I think Puka Nakua's out, which is a bit of a shame because I was looking forward to seeing him. And obviously, from a divisional perspective, I want the Rams to have as many good players on the field as possible.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be a good game. The Jags have been good this year. Seattle are a good team, but the Jags have beaten some good teams this year. We've talked about it on this show. They annoyingly look pretty decent. So hoping the Rams get it done for us, but I think the Jags will play. The Jags tend to do quite well in London.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard, the Rams are only flying out on Saturday.
Oof.
Which is the latest any team apparently has ever come to. They've been in Baltimore for the week, and then they're flying out to London Saturday. So it's a bit of a.
That's a bit. Sorry, just to jump in because.
No, yeah, you're fine.
That really does surprise me, considering just a bit of off-field stuff. KSE, who own the Rams, own Arsenal Football Club. So that.
You have to get it in, didn't you?
No, but. My point is,
does anybody support Arsenal on this pod? I'm not aware if there been any Arsenal supporters on this pod. Sorry, Harrison.
If you are the owner, well, I think technically Josh is the owner of Arsenal and Stan's the owner of the Rams. But if you are the owner, you say, "Hey, we've got a private jet for you. Fly to our club. We'll put you up in our training ground or whatever you can use." But it might coincide with the owners flying out because you've got the Jags, like you say, in London. You've got Arsenal versus Fulham in London that weekend. You got the Jags versus the Rams, and then I also believe a European game or something that Mr. Khan wants to be around for. So there's I would expect a big corporate presence going on for this one. Just a little off business side on it.
Is it Arsenal Fulham this weekend? Oh, it is. Oh, okay. Yeah. I hadn't made that connection.
They play Saturday night, I want to say.
Yes, I'm just looking at the fixtures now. Yeah, they play Saturday night. Yeah, I hadn't even looked at who Tottenham are at home Sunday. I'm just trying to figure out how busy London's going to be, just from my own selfish travelling perspective.
Yeah.
And
But yeah, no, it's probably it's all to do with business, isn't it? But there's going to be something there.
yeah.
Anyway, as we got distracted, any other games we want to talk about? Anything else we want to bring up?
No, all good, man.
Any plays of the week? Any heroes, villains stand out for you?
I mean, I think the villain of the week's got to be Brian Branch, hasn't it? That, you know, one man taking on the whole Chiefs sideline. Like, cool move. But, you know, is it cool?
It's not a good look when you lose it, is it?
Yeah, you know, is that really what you want to see in any sport? I'd argue you probably don't. But just a fascinating turn of events. I mean, quite literally him versus the Chiefs sideline. It was crazy for a second, but yeah, that's definitely my villain of the week. No, I'm fucking Drew Ogletree, the clown. Our fucking best player a concussion. Our best cornerback a concussion. Fuck Drew Ogletree.
Ed, any villains of the week, mate?
No, not from me. I suppose my play of the week, we've already talked about it, is Doolan rushing the passer. I don't think I'm going to get over that for a while, to be honest with you. I just think that was mad. But no, nothing from me, mate. I will. Sorry, villain of the week. Actually, just villain of the week is the whole Denver Broncos and New York Jets organisations for coming to London and serving up that pile of crap that people had to pay a small fortune to go and watch as well, by the way, which I know is not necessarily relevant because you pay your ticket price, you never know what you're going to see. But I mean, that was we're talking Sunday afternoon, prime time in England. No Premier League on this week. Like, there was nothing else to compete. You had the whole nation potentially to watch, and you serve up that pile of crap. So get out of here.
So I'll go through mine quickly then, and then we'll head to score predictions because we've been going just over an hour now, and we do want to get this podcast out at some point. So my play of the week is Cam Ward throwing thin air and dropping the ball. We're ass, your ass, mate. Villain of the week. I mean, for me, it's the Browns front office and the Browns organisation, because look at Baker Mayfield, and they've lost 22 in a row. Something like that, 22 straight losses. And it's only not getting talked about because it's been over 2 seasons, but that's crazy. And Shador Sanders, you don't even fancy giving him a shot? Like, not his biggest fan, but it's got to be better than whatever you're doing now.
There's a really weird sense of acceptance with Cleveland, isn't it? That just they're bad, and no one ever really challenges that. But it is though. Like, when you listen to the language of the league, and or like if we were playing the Browns next week, what would we be saying right now? We'd be talking about that we think they're fundamentally bad and they have organizational issues. And
it's true.
I have no doubt that poor Shador will be rolled out probably on week 14 or 15 to see what he's got. And good luck to the kid.
Yeah. And my hero of the week, before we do get into score predictions, is Mr. Michael Badgley. Come on down and collect your award. Welcome back to the Honey Badger, who went perfect, converting all these extra point attempts. I think he only had 1 field goal attempt.
Yeah,
which he absolutely nailed. Solid like he was in his previous stint with the Indianapolis Colts, but to come back under pressure and get vital points that win us the game, excellent work. Score predictions. So this weekend coming up, we have got a team that just squeaked past the terrible Miami Dolphins. This is hard because we don't know what defense we're going to get from the Colts.
I worry about Justin Herbert passing for about 2,000 miles against us this weekend. I'm not going to lie. Against that secondary, it's a massive concern.
Mm-hmm. I think it really does depend on, are the Chargers, and Harbour definitely is, but are they clever enough to do what Arizona did, which was, we know your pass rush isn't great, so we're just going to go heavy protection every single snap. I mean, it probably wasn't every snap, but it felt like every snap it was 6-on-4, 5-on-4, 7-on-4. Like, it just felt like not many teams only go with 4 blockers. So, yeah, if the Chargers do that, we could be in trouble. If they don't do that, and they want to be the big dog team, and they don't respect us as much, or not that I think Harbour would ever let that happen, but you roll into a game and think we can beat these. I think we could see Herbert, because he does like to hold on to it. I think we could see a few sacks and we could win. I think the Colts could either do what they did against the Rams as a bit of like, that could either happen again, but the chances of that sort of like freak scenario happening again are low. But we are the Indianapolis Colts. So that being said, who wants to go first with the score predictions?
I'll go first. Yeah, I'm certainly nervous for this game. I'm so glad it's on at 9, because I think the league should be watching this game. At the end of the day, someone's 5-1 has got to go. This is really premier football at week 7, in my opinion. I'll leave a lot of my thoughts for Monday on the Chargers. They're an amazing team. They are like a kettle right now. They're either boiling or they're freezing cold. Their offensive line is absolutely hemorrhaging. And I'm riding the wave of my beloved team being 5-1. I'm going Colts 24, LA 20, with the key factor being that Latu will get 2 key sacks on key downs.
Wow.
And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I really think this is going to be Latu's coming to life game. And what a game to do it when you're playing against a team that's lost both their O tackles, both their right and left tackles are out. I believe Joel's still out. So
Yeah, he is.
This is a massive opportunity for Latu. Massive.
Wow, I'm also glad this game's at 9 o'clock, because it means I'll be back from London in time to watch it. I'm not joking. I think my train gets in like 8:30, 8:45, so I'm well happy with that. You what? Sorry.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If the train, yeah. If not, it'd be a dodgy phone signal on the train home. Me doing the old school, trying to get a signal, because I don't trust the train Wi-Fi. I think this is going to be a very close game, and I think this is the start of a stretch of games where we find out how good this Colts team is up until our bye week, and it starts with a redemption game in LA.
Yeah,
I think the Colts win 25-24. I think it's going to be that close. I think that there is an opportunity. I think Nathan's summed that up brilliantly. I think there's an opportunity for our defensive line to get home this weekend. So Ashton Doolan is going to get his first ever career sack when he's called in to rush the passer again. No, I'm joking. I think the Colts win 25-24. It's going to be close.
I like what you two said, and I'm going to completely ignore it all. Mate, I mean, it's simple for me. This is the best offense in the league. Indiana Jones is cracking the whip, and it shows no sign of slowing down. Quentin Nelson is the meanest, the best offensive lineman in the game. And like I say, if the awards weren't stupid, he'd be MVP of the league. I'd said it himself. There's no better running back than Jonathan Taylor. Every running back's rubbish. Yeah, I look forward to it. Nice, easy game. No emotion. Just chilled out. No ups, no downs. And the Colts are going to win 31 to the Chargers 14. See you all later. Goodbye.